9 times out of 10, when a man is prematurely bringing up pregnancy, okay, you getting pregnant, you having a child, he does not have good intentions.
You manifested Blaze. You were mentioning another child before I got pregnant.
Yeah, true.
Like, you manifested Blaze.
Yeah.
On our first date, you were talking about a Blaze, not him exactly.
Yeah.
But you were talking about a Blaze. So you agree with that?
I do agree with that. I think that, and you know.
We talked about kids.
Yeah, true. But just so, you guys know, because you guys are, beautiful women. You guys are still like women, right? But men, right? Men see a baddie, we think like, I'm going to get her pregnant. That's what men think when they see a baddie.
You gamed me.
You gamed me.
I'm just asking.
Hey, I'm just saying.
If you go to one of my pin videos on my page, where I was speaking about, I had a mask on my face, and I was talking about men not being protectors of women, but they're protectors of their access to women. Okay, you're gonna hear me say that a lot. Okay, and that statement is applicable here. In the comments of that video had like thousands of comments. In the comments in that video, there were women. Okay, and there was so many comments to keep up with, but I was reading comments where women were saying like, my boyfriend, my ex, my husband, whomever, was jealous of my journal. He didn't want me working out. He was jealous of the attention that I gave the children, of the attention that I gave the dogs. He didn't like me wearing certain things. He didn't like me going certain places. He didn't like me taking trips. He didn't like me going out with my friends. He didn't like me trying to pursue education, classes. He didn't like me working. He didn't like just a whole bunch of stuff, like a whole bunch of comments. And the consensus was that there were men in their lives who had a disdain for them exercising their freedom and their autonomy in some way, shape, or form. Men know that they're nuts, okay? They know that they're crazy, okay? And they know that trying to express that they may not like you wearing certain things when they're not around, or going certain places with certain people when they're not around, they know that if they express their jealousy for certain things, right? If they express their need to control your movements, your whereabouts, and your behavior, that it is going to be met with pushback. They're very much aware of this, right? And so they say to themselves, okay, she's going to push back. I know I have something better. I know an easier way. I'm just going to get her pregnant. Okay? Because pregnancy is like a normal way. Okay? It's something that normalizes their surveillance of you. Okay? It's a normal way for them to control your movements, your behavior, your whereabouts, your future, your freedom. Right? I am not going to say any of that. I have an easier way. Okay? Men weaponize pregnancy, okay, against you. Pregnancy makes women extremely vulnerable, right? Vulnerable in multiple ways, more than one. It makes you vulnerable emotionally. It makes you vulnerable physically, financially, psychologically. And you know who knows this more than you know this, more than we know this? Men. They're very much aware of the vulnerability that we're going to start to experience once we become pregnant. And that's what they want. They want us to be vulnerable for them. They want to have children so that you can raise it. They want you to sit down. They want to sit your ass down. They know it's a way to limit the access that other men are going to have to you. I think my favorite part, which is also simultaneously the worst part of the interview, is when Shanice comes to the realization that anytime a relationship or a situation or a man did not serve her, she would just forget about them. But she's realizing now that I cannot forget about you, right? It's not a clean break because we have this child together.
Well, thank you for saying that you didn't give me enough grace, because I do agree with you. And I think a lot of my anger came from you not delivering what the expectations were.
Yeah.
So we'll leave that there. But I think that I had to learn how to, when I'm done with someone, I'm done with them. And because you share a child, you can't necessarily be done with them.
Yeah.
So I think I had to learn how to wrap my mind around the fact that, like, this is for life. Because otherwise I would have been like, would we be sitting here today if we didn't have Blaze? You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. Yeah, I can
You
see
know,
that.
because otherwise it would have been like, all right.
Yeah, because when you start talking to somebody, you're like, okay, whatever. But when you do share,
I mean, I feel like I would have still been on Drop the Low, so I would have been.
But maybe for different reasons,
Oh, yeah,
right?
right.
Because I also do feel like we were meant to cross paths in whatever capacity we were meant to cross paths in. And we were having this conversation the other day by like, well, in my opinion, the universe and God doesn't make mistakes. So
Right.
Blaze was supposed to be here. You were supposed to be Blaze's dad. We were chosen to be his parents. So I think that I just had to learn how to grasp with the fact of like, okay, this is a situation in which you have to stick around. Me.
Right.
That's not my thing. That's not my dating life. We talked about kids.
And Shanice is older than me, so it was just a little bit disappointing to see her having to learn this lesson as a woman, you know, in her 30s. But she comes to the realization, and talking about children on the first date is crazy, because if you're not taking care of me, you will never be able to convince me that you're going to take care of a child that I have for you. Never. Men who are talking to you about putting you in a vulnerable position should not be trusted. Okay? Because, like I already stated, they know that pregnancy is going to make you vulnerable financially, it's going to make you vulnerable physically, psychologically, and they're not trying to shield you from that vulnerability first, right? They're not to be trusted. He knows that he was not ever going to be able to give Shanice what she wanted, right? She wants a commitment, which is what she's expressing. She thought they were going to be a family, like he was going to settle down, which, you know, silly, yeah, because the game is an entertainer. He's a playboy, he's a bachelor. The game has multiple baby mothers, multiple children. He's not gonna settle down, right? And he knew he wouldn't. He knew he wasn't going to, right? But he wanted access to Shanice anyway, knowing that he was not going to be able to give her what she wanted. He was fully aware of the fact that if she wanted to move on from him, right, in the event that he was not giving her what she wanted, he knows that it's too clean. The break is too clean, right? Now he's connected to her, right? Now she has to perform labor for him in some way, shape, or form. Now he always gets to maintain access to her through this child, right? While not giving her anything it is that she wants. I hate the part where she goes, "Oh, you manifested that, baby. You manifested Blaze." What about what you manifested and what you wanted? Right? So let that be your friendly reminder to only do things because you want to do it. Like, the fact that you want to do it is quite literally more important than what they want. Like, you're not doing it because, you know, they're telling you they want you to do this, and, you know, you're getting so flattered by them wanting to, you know, have a baby together, and, you know, they're telling you how good of a mom you'll be and how cute the baby's going to be and all this foolishness. Do it because that's what you want, and you've already assessed your benefit and you're getting it up front. What I will leave you with is that we are being lied to, right? Men need women to have children for their own survival.